And what I like to do is I'm gonna use a lollipop on you because we are prepping the skin at the corners of the mouth so we don't have any tears. And so that the ET tube holder sticks well. And usually we're gonna do the bridge of the nose and tape across here as well. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that right now. Sort of keeping the skin integrity. I'll let that dry. And I like to protect the corner of the mouth from the tape because we aren't using tube holders. The mechanical tube holders are really doing damage to our prone victims' faces. We're having a lot of facial breakdown with those, so I'm gonna have you open your mouth a slight bit, right like that. We're gonna go right into the corner, like that. And these are super sticky. And you gotta imagine this with all your gear on, and it's kind of a booger to get it all done with all your gear on. You're gonna go right into the corner of that mouth like that. Okay, so I'm gonna have you, first of all, I'm gonna slip this ET tube holder behind your neck. Okay. We're using tape, we're changing it out just before we prone. So every 24 hours we're doing a tape change. And of course we're doing it the old-fashioned way because that's how we used to do it and it still works. So Russell, I'm gonna have you just hold that right at your teeth level, right there. Okay, thank you. Oh, sorry. Get that in there where I bonk him in the head. So we're taking it down about to there. And I usually just have someone hold that for me, keeping that pilot balloon free. Thanks, Jess. And I'm gonna come around and I should have a pair of gloves on. So somebody wanna grab me one?
Medium?
Yeah, small would be great. Because I'm gonna be touching his mouth. Sorry about that. At least I didn't cough in your face, right, Russell? I didn't. It's really considerate of me not to do that. Here we go. So I truncated this a little bit. You're usually gonna have to tear some of it off because these tube tapes are really long. This subglottic, and you're gonna have somebody holding tension on that tube holder. On that tube while you tape. You're always going to tab off the ends because that's a nice teamwork thing to do. So just give a little tension that way towards that side of his mouth. The idea behind this being that if there's enough tension on this, you can basically pick his head up off the table without losing your tube if you've taped it correctly. So right there. Coming up with that pilot balloon into there. If you've got a lot of secretions, you know, you still have the gaps in the tube tape where you can suction the mouth. And of course, gravity works in your favor when the patient is already prone to drain the secretions. And then when you're done taping the tube, you're going to tape it to your OG. And like Jess said, it's a really good idea to measure the distance from the lip to the end of the tube. So that's snug, right? You're not biting that? Don't bite. And so it's not going anywhere.
And then I'll measure from the lip up to the end of the ET tube here. We're at the connection point of the adapter to the vent. And then I would make note that it's 11.5. Probably can't see that on the video. But then that would be another measurement that I would put on the board, just so that once the patient's prone, we know if it's sliding out or not, because you can't see the number at the teeth mark that we normally would measure to.
When you get ready to lift, we can put his face bandage on now. But putting this coccyx pad over the bridge of the nose and putting the pads on each eye after you put the eye drops in and sealing that down prevents any facial pressure wounds. And we do that every 24 hours. So typically they are 20 hours down and 3 to 4 hours up. It does 3 hours up with 1 hour to do the proning itself. So 20 hours face down, typically 3 hours up, and then an hour to reprone them. So it's typically what we're experiencing.